Welcome to the SchoolPay video training series. This video is the introduction and overview of the SchoolPay system. In this video, we will be doing an overview of SchoolPay, which will start with the different parts of the SchoolPay puzzle. And this is the district, school, and parent accounts. We'll talk about the way SchoolPay is organized and how it works for parents, as well as for site and district staff. We'll talk about the key terms and concepts that are good to know as you're learning about SchoolPay. We'll do a demonstration of the payment process that parents go through, and we'll also do a tour of the administrator module. Let's talk about how SchoolPay is organized. When a school district buys the SchoolPay system, that school district gets a district account. Each site or school and/or department within the district also gets an individual school account. And then finally, of course, parents have an account, and that account relates specifically to their children. And that can be the schools that their children attend, the grades that they're in, and also the groups that each child is in at their respective school. Let's talk about the district account. A good way to think about the district account is to think of it as an umbrella account. And this umbrella account has each of the different site or school and department accounts inside that umbrella account. This allows the district to configure SchoolPay in several ways, depending on how that district is organized with regard to their banking, their sites, and their departments. But specifically, a school district can determine which bank accounts to connect to SchoolPay, the payment methods that will be accepted at the district and at the school and department levels. The district can maintain a chart of accounts across all the sites in the district. The district can configure custom roles and access for administrators, and that goes at the district level as well as at the site level. Finally, the district can also configure custom reports. As just mentioned, each school or site, or department for that matter, has their own individual school version of the SchoolPay system account. This gives each school or department full autonomy. Each site can have their own unique chart of accounts. Each site can maintain its own catalog of payment items. Each site can have an unlimited number of staff logging into SchoolPay. And each site can have funds settled to an unlimited number of bank accounts. It all depends on the district's policies and how the finances are organized at that district and at each of the sites within the district. Finally, there is the parent account. Families and individual parents can have a parent account in SchoolPay. They log into that parent account at schoolpay.com. Parents can create their account in a self-service manner, or the school and district can create it for them. There's no limit to the number of accounts each student can be associated with, and this is to accommodate divorce, extended family, and other guardianships. When parents log into their parent account, that parent sees the various fees that relate to their children or their child. The image that you see on the screen, with all the different pieces of the puzzle, as we've called them, and the different arrows pointing and connecting those different pieces of the puzzle, this is how SchoolPay comes together for the school district and the sites, as well as the families that use the system. The end result is that the district gets the oversight that is needed. The district staff can run reports across the entire district. They can drill down into individual sites. They can look and see what certain specific families are doing within SchoolPay. While the district gets the oversight it needs, each site gets the autonomy needed to manage their payments. In our experience, the district staff does not need to get involved, or frankly care to get involved, when a high school is selling yearbooks or when a middle school is selling spiritware t-shirts. The way SchoolPay is organized allows the sites to manage their different catalog of payments and fees while giving the district the oversight they need, should they need that oversight. Parents see the payment items that relate specifically to their children, and remember, this can be specific by school, it can be specific by grade, as well as by group. And group would be, for example, payment items appearing just to the families that have a child in band or on the tennis team. Those are examples of groups in SchoolPay. Let's talk about some of the different terms that will be helpful for you to know as you go through training. First off, merchant account, payee, and settlement account. These are three different ways to refer to essentially the same thing: the bank account into which the funds will ultimately be deposited. The SchoolPay system will always automatically deposit funds into the designated bank account within 2 banking days of the payment being made. The merchant account is the financial mechanism that connects an individual bank account or settlement account to the SchoolPay system. When a school district signs up for SchoolPay, we give that school district as many merchant accounts as needed. Sometimes there is one or more at the district level and one or more at each site. It is also not uncommon for there to be one merchant account for the entire district. Essentially, the number of merchant accounts will directly mirror the number of settlement accounts across that entire district. Parent account. This is very simply the account within SchoolPay that parents log into to make payment. Administrator account. Like the parent account, this is the other side of SchoolPay where administrators log in to manage the catalog of payments that appear to parents, run reports, and do the other different management and ongoing operational things that administrators will do within their SchoolPay account. Remember, there are 2 different types of administrator accounts, one at the district level and one at the individual site or school level. Payment item. A payment item is very simply something that can be taken, something for which payment can be made. Payment items are all the individual fees and things available for payment that are managed and created within the administrator account in SchoolPay. Once they're created, those payment items appear in the parent account for the different parents to pay for. Convenience fee. The convenience fee will be determined by the district policies, and if the district doesn't in fact want to assess a convenience fee is an additional fee that is added on and spelled out clearly to the parent that there is an additional amount being added on and paid for by the parent. Typically, this is done to offset the cost of the credit card processing. The convenience fee is different than the transaction fees that are assessed by SchoolPay. The convenience fee is assessed to the parent, typically by the district policy, dictated by the district policy, and paid for by the parent, and the funds go to the district or the school, again, depending on the policy of the district. Custom data field. Quite often in school payments, it is most helpful to collect some additional information at the time of payment. For example, if a parent is paying for a jersey or a Spirit Wear t-shirt for their child, it makes the most sense for the parent to be able to also at the time of payment designate the size of the jersey or Spirit Wear t-shirt that they're ordering. This would typically be done through a custom data field. A custom data field is an additional question that can be mandatory or optional that is added to a payment item. The data and responses that are collected via the custom data fields are found in your reporting in the administrator module. Next, we'll talk about a few different concepts that will be helpful for you to know as you learn about SchoolPay. First of all, the SchoolPay system will allow payments to be made online, in person, and via mobile devices. Whether a parent is at home or in the school in person, and whether they're using a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone, that payment can be taken via SchoolPay. When payment is made in SchoolPay, money settles to the appropriate bank account 2 banking days after the payment, and that settlement is done by batch. There are 2 concepts wrapped up here in this one statement. First of all, a banking day is every day of the week except Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes, depending on your bank, it will be every day of the week except Sunday. 2 banking days after a payment is made, all of the payments from that day will be settled to your bank account. All the payments made that day is essentially what we mean when we say by batch. Batch is simply 1 full day's payment activity. So you will see 1 day's payment activity deposited per deposit into your bank account 2 banking days after the payments are made. SchoolPay is designed to be completely self-service, but the system is also backed by live customer support. District staff, site staff, and parents are encouraged to call for live support if they need help, especially if it has any kind of urgency. The SchoolPay system obviously handles payments from parents, but also from community members and staff. Essentially, every single payment that is made to your district or your school or department today, whether from a parent, community member, or staff member, can be taken via SchoolPay. Administrators, and that is what you are, the people watching this training, will not have access to every screen in SchoolPay. SchoolPay supports permission-based roles. What this means is that in these training sessions, there will certainly be many screens that you won't have access to during your day-to-day life using SchoolPay. Whether or not you have access to a screen depends on the policies that are set forth by the district and therefore the way that your different accounts are created and set up. If you need access to screens for your job that you don't have access today, please direct those questions to your district staff people who are in charge of SchoolPay. Okay, we're almost ready for the demonstrations. Immediately following these slides, we'll be doing a quick demonstration of the parent account and a quick tour of the administrator account. The goal is to show you first what we do, essentially the experience for parents, and then a quick tour of the administrator module where you'll learn how we do it. Okay, it's time for a demonstration of the parent account experience. So you'll see that we are at SchoolPay.com. This is where parents go to log into their SchoolPay account. Incidentally, this is where staff people like you will also go to log into your administrator account. If a parent is brand new and coming to SchoolPay.com for the first time, they can go through a self-service process to create their own SchoolPay account, or if the district has set up accounts in advance for parents, they'll click this Find My Account link to pull up their account that's been created and is waiting for them. We have a parent account ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and just log into that parent account right here. So we've logged into our parent account and we're immediately greeted with a notice that food service has been paused for the summer. This is a really handy feature called a service alert that you are able to do self-service for all of your parents, and that can be at the district level or at the school level. If there's ever a time that you want to have a notice pop up and appear to parents, you can do that. You can create a service alert just like this. I'm going to say I've got it and that I want to move on, and here we are at the school payment screen within the SchoolPay parent account. Before I go into a demonstration of the payment process for parents in SchoolPay, let me first give you a quick explanation of what's going on here, the different parts of the SchoolPay parent account, and that will help you make a little more sense of the demonstration. So first of all, as I mentioned, we are on the school payments screen in SchoolPay. There's an area for school payments, there's an area for food service, and there's an area for parent groups. FYI, parent groups are essentially the PTA, PTO, Booster Club, any nonprofit associated with the school or the district. School payments is every payment that a parent would make to the school or to the district that is not food service. So as you see here, this would be field trips, we have an iPad insurance fee, we have classroom supply kits, extended day payment, etc. On the left here, if I click food service, we'll go to the food service screen where I will see a balance for each of my children, as well as the different food that they've been eating in the cafeteria. In this demonstration account with food service shut off for the summer, I am not seeing a balance for my children. In a normal situation during the school year, of course you would see a balance, and it would be a real-time balance with an update on when the last balance change was. As a parent, I can make a one-time payment here. I can also set up a balance threshold and an action, so I can choose a balance threshold and then an action. When my child's balance falls below the threshold, what do I want done? Do I want an email or an auto payment of a certain amount done? Let's really quickly go through the process of making a payment so you can see what that's like for a parent. Okay, first off, I know I need to pay for this first grade field trip to the History Museum, so very simply, I click Add to Cart. When I get to the Add to Cart screen, I've got a couple things I can do here. First of all, who does this payment relate to? It only relates to Samantha Jones. So for example, if I had multiple children at an elementary school or a high school for that matter, and I was purchasing the yearbook, that yearbook payment would be eligible for all of my children. So this drop down would have all of my children listed. In this case, it only relates to one of my children, and so I can't choose it for anyone else other than Samantha. I'm only going to purchase one, but you can put a quantity field on your different payment items and have the functionality of varying quantity come into play. Down here where it says additional information requested, these are those custom data fields that I mentioned where it makes sense to be able to select the t-shirt size. In this case, they also want an emergency contact number. They want to know if I'm able to be a chaperone, and yes, I would like to be a chaperone. And that is all I need to do for my custom questions. You'll notice these top two questions have a little asterisk here, kind of hard to see here on this screen, but those asterisks denote that those first two questions are mandatory. I would not be able to finish the checkout process without entering information here or selecting a size. Now I could complete my purchase and go to checkout right here, or I could continue shopping. Quite often parents will have multiple children and they'll need to be able to purchase multiple things in one session, and so of course SchoolPay allows that. So I'm now back at my school payment screen. Let's scroll down here and let's purchase the yearbook. The Washington High School yearbook for $100. I'm going to add it to my cart. This payment is for Molly. It only relates to Molly. There are no additional questions. Pretty simple payment item, frankly kind of common for a yearbook, and I am now going to go ahead and go to checkout. You'll notice we've got a little pop-up here letting us know that we've already purchased this first grade field trip before, and essentially calling that out to us in case this is a duplicate payment. That's a very handy feature. You'll see that with these demonstration accounts where we purchase the same items over and over again. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that, but that would be very handy if this already had been purchased, and it would, allow me to not make a duplicate payment that would then have to be refunded. I've got my two items, my field trip, my yearbook. This looks good. If I had realized I had something I needed to change, if I wanted to remove something from my cart, I could still do that, but I'm in good shape and I'm going to go to my billing information, step 2 of the payment process. Now this parent, Nancy Jones, has their address entered already and saved in the system so that the system will automatically populate that, and that also goes with her credit card. Parents do not have to store their address or their credit card information. They can key that in every time if that's their choice. I'm going to now go to step 3 to review my order. Again, I could edit things if I wanted to. If I realized I had something in my cart I didn't want, I could edit the cart still. Lots of nice control for the parent. This all looks good though, and I'm going to go ahead and finish. And just like that, in real time, we get an authorization or a decline. In this case, the transaction was authorized. This is the receipt that is shown to the parent. This receipt can be printed right here. This receipt is also always emailed to the parent every time. Lastly, parents have a full history where they can go pull up all of their transactions, sort by child, date, keyword, etc. But that is essentially the payment process for parents in the parent account of SchoolPay. We will now do a quick tour of the administrator module of SchoolPay. You'll notice we're back at SchoolPay.com. This time, instead of having a parent's email address in here, I have a different email address. Just like parents, staff people will go to SchoolPay.com and log into their account from here. The system knows if you're a parent or an administrator and will log you automatically into the appropriate account. I will stress one more time that some of the screens that you're going to see here in this quick tour may not be available to you during your actual work with SchoolPay during the school year. Bear that in mind if there's ever a screen that you need access to just make sure that you reach out to the appropriate person at the district. But let's go ahead and log in and take a look at the actual administrator module of SchoolPay. So we've logged in, and the first screen that we land on is a dashboard of your account's activity in SchoolPay. We show your most recent day's transaction activity, a breakdown of the types of transactions. Now this is a demonstration account and it's summertime, so there's not a lot of activity on this account. But this pie graph will show you the makeup of your transactions. You'll see the most recent payment. This is the payment that we actually just made a second ago in that parent account. This is the district account associated with that parent account, or maybe I should say that parent account is associated with this district account. You'll see the payment items that have the most activity, how many people are logged in right now, and some other helpful information. The main areas of SchoolPay are payments, and this is where you go to build your catalog of payment items. Reports. This is where you will spend a good amount of your time depending on the different roles that you have in your job. If you're doing reconciliation or working with the different staff people at your site as far as giving them lists of people who paid for things like the yearbook or who paid for different sports fees. Reports, this is where you'll go to issue refunds and voids. VT stands for Virtual Terminal. This is the part of SchoolPay where you will actually take payment in person. And then the Promote module is the part of SchoolPay where we bridge the gap between creating payment items and making them available automatically to parents, but then also what are the different ways that you can promote SchoolPay as a service or individual payment items out to your broader community. I'm going to talk more about these areas of SchoolPay, but the first thing I'm going to show you here is the Account Settings module. The Account Settings module is the part of SchoolPay where all of the different configurations for your site are maintained. This is one of the main screens that people typically do not have access to. And that's simply because almost everything, if not everything that's available to be done within the settings module is done in advance of your staff taking over ownership of their SchoolPay accounts. Some of the different things that we'll do when we set up your accounts, the district will say, here are the different payment settings we want. Here are the different payment methods that we want to make available. For example, some districts do not take American Express, and so the district will tell us these things and we'll set up the accounts appropriately. Whether or not there will be a convenience fee, for example. The different chart of accounts would be maintained here. So the district will send us over a list of chart of accounts for every single site in addition to the district, and they get uploaded here. Images, as you probably saw within the parent account, images are acceptable within SchoolPay. They're frankly encouraged. You can have an image with every single payment item. It makes it a lot more graphically, visually appealing for the parent. Once images are uploaded, they're maintained in the library. And so you don't have to upload them again. You can simply just choose from the library. And this is the image library for this account. This is where I can see the different students that are loaded into the system. We do an automatic student information sync for every district that we work with. This is where the groups can be established, where you can upload. Here's the list of everyone in band. Here's the list of everyone on the JV football team, that kind of thing. This is where we'll create and maintain the roles that the different administrators have. It is specifically the role that each administrator has that determines what screens and areas within SchoolPay that you have access to. So that's a little bit about the settings module. The payments module, as I mentioned, is where you will go to maintain your catalog of payment items. So remember that first grade field trip to the History Museum that we made a payment for in the parent account just a minute ago? This is that payment item. This is where that payment item was created. This is where it's maintained. If I needed to edit it, I could go in here and edit it. But basically, this is my list of individual items. I touched on multi-items for a second. This is where I would have a multi-item. If I wanted to build a no-cost item, which is an item that allows parents to register or sign up, but no money is being paid. There's no money associated with a no-cost item. Let's touch on really quickly on reports. We have all kinds of different reports that you'll have access to within SchoolPay that allow you to do all the different reconciliation things, the different work within the district, working with parents who have made a payment and have a question, working with staff people who need a list of everyone who paid for a certain thing. All of that is done in the reports area. Lastly, before we leave the administrator module, I will point out that within each module, you will see a download immediately to the right of the name of the module, and if you click this, it will launch a guide. So if I go over here to the reports area, you'll see that in the reports area, I have a guide. In the virtual terminal area, I also have a guide. Up here at the top, the main SchoolPay listing, you'll notice there's also a guide. If I click this, as I'm doing right now, this will launch the entire how-to manual for SchoolPay. So if you ever need help, just pull up the guide for that section or pull up the guide for the entire system, and you'll be able to find the area within SchoolPay, read about what to do, and get the help you need. But also, of course, as we've mentioned, we want to make sure you know that you can just simply also call customer service if there's any urgency. Thank you for your time in listening to the introduction and overview of SchoolPay. The next videos in this series will explain in detail each of the different elements of the administrator module that I just touched on. And remember, the goal of the training is to get you familiar with SchoolPay so that your live training is more productive. The goal of these videos is to not have you finished and fully understanding what to do with SchoolPay, but to help you get ready for the most productive live training session as is possible. And again, thank you for your time.